What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Best Bet show. I'm excited. Listen, this is like the grind out part of the NFL season. I can't believe we're already this far in. But we have a lot of good games, a lot of Christmas stuff going on, and then it's basically almost playoff football. So that being said, Austin, how are we feeling today?
Dude, we're in the final stretch. It's been a fun year. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. It's always moves kind of quick once NBA starts. I feel like for me, the weeks kind of start piling, and you kind of just go day by day, and you're like, oh shit, there's football today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this game, I'm not, I guess, excited for, but I think I'm optimistic enough where it could be entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Like these offenses. These are the two teams I honestly can never figure out. I'm just gonna put that out there in the stratosphere. The Chargers defense has been great, but the Broncos offense has looked good considering they really don't have a ton of star power. Like if you look at the average guy, average NFL fan, he looks at maybe he knows who Cortland Sutton is, but I feel like a lot of these guys are just rookies or just, under the radar guys. And same with the Chargers. Like they got rid of Mike Williams, got rid of Keenan Allen. These are new teams, fresh teams. They have Lad McConkey. They have some guys there, some injuries going on as well. But both these offenses are, they're kind of some games they can go off, some games they can't. Broncos are surprisingly 9-5. The Chargers are 8-6. They're both behind the Chiefs in the AFC West. So this is a big game. I mean, this is like this is a playoff game for them. As if the Broncos win, they pretty much solidify themselves a playoff spot. And if the Chargers win, I'd say likewise. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited to see Harbaugh. I'm excited to see both these quarterbacks. A little bit of a veteran quarterback in Herbert versus Bo Nix. A great story. So I'll go off my first prop today before we get into sides and totals. And I think you're on it as well. That's Kamani Vidal. Receiving yards, I got a 9.5. I think you played receptions. We didn't even talk about it. Usually we talk a little bit before the game, but both of us came to that conclusions ourselves. Why do you like that play?
Yeah, it's a filter system running back play. You and I have targeted RBs against the Broncos in this spot all year. It's just one of those spots where we trust his route running. That he's been out there a ton of snaps lately. He's out-snapped Gus Edwards, especially in the pass game, all season, basically. So I'm comfortable there. The line I got at -105, I was shocked. I don't usually see this crazy of CLV, but it's -205 now. So don't love his receptions at that price. I would probably go with you at receiving yards. I saw right now best line's 12.5 receiving yards. So I still kind of like it there. It's one of those spots where I think he could get 3 grabs.
I do too. And I think also like the reason why I chose receiving yards over receptions was because at 9.5, I was like, okay, he could break it for a 10, 12 yard catch, 1 catch. If he gets 2, I'm soaring over. Now we're in the point where it's 2 catches, 6 yards each doesn't cover. So now it's like, what do we do? It's just a smash spot for this system though. And with the Chargers, being the Chargers this year, Herbert last few weeks has not been scrambling. His whatever injury he's been dealing with or new injury, whatever it is, I can't even keep up anymore. He has not been rushing as of late. So the dump off to these Broncos team has been printing. So it's still doable. Again, definitely you have to go the yards at this point.
Right.
Which I still would take probably up to like 13.5. I think that's when we're getting a little bit of a little weird number there, but 12.5 right now. 10.5 if you have Fanatics, which, good luck there if you do have it or not. But if you want a little easy grab there, I cannot bet there anymore. I can, but it'll be like 4 cents. So not sure.
Action.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I do think the Chargers win this game. I like the Broncos. I think they're a cool team. I like the story. But in this spot, I know the spread's gone down from 4 to 2.5. I think now's the point where I think I'm going to go with the Chargers at 2.5. Probably if it was still 4, I'd probably lean Broncos. I think this is a field goal game. But Herbert and Harbaugh, I think I have to lean that way. I don't know what your thoughts are. And again, that's not a big lean on my part. That's just a gun to my head, what I'm going to choose. You let me know what you think there.
I'm excited for it. I know a lot of Oregonians are excited for it. Obviously, that's where I live. Bo Nix versus Herbert. I know a lot of my homies are excited for it, that are diehard Ducks fans. So I think this shootout could be in play, honestly. I think it's sneaky good at 41.5. That's where I lean. I'm curious to see what you think. I know traditionally you and I do favor primetime unders, but I like what I'm seeing from Bo Nix, and I think I've seen continued improvement each week. I know he had a couple rough weeks, but we've seen a steady increase of improvement from him. I think he's a quality quarterback. So this is a big, big game for him. Playoff online. I'm excited for this matchup. I would probably go with you with the Chargers at 2.5, but I do think this is a 3-point game.
Yeah, it's interesting. They have the Chargers and the Broncos on their team total touchdowns lines, both at plus money for 2.5. So they think 2 touchdowns each. So you're getting 14 and 14, 28. Both kickers juiced over field goals. So 6 and 6 pretty much gets you at 40. So if one team does have 3 touchdowns, do you think this goes over? I do think both teams will move the ball. I think the Chargers games are going more under because they were able to run the ball with Dobbins was healthy. And I know Gus wasn't either, but Dobbins was outstanding this year. And they were able to run the clock, just control tempo. They've been having a hard time running the ball with just Gus. He's kind of like that third down back trying to play a first and second down role. And it's just not going that well. I think they can get the 3rd and shorts, but them struggling to run the ball, I think it allows for either short drives, but also stops clock. Like they can get some passing in. I do lean the over. Any game at 41.5 just feels like I have to take the over, just considering a turnover. You're in field goal range. There's no weather. They're playing in a dome.
Another thing is Herbert has been at like 27.5 pass attempts, 28.5 pass attempts early on when they were running a ton. He's at 33.5, 34.5. That's starting to climb back to the Herbert we're used to seeing thrown at 35 plus times a game. I could see a couple big plays here. Obviously, this Broncos defense has a ton of like defensive touchdowns this year. I have them in fantasy and they've killed all year. So, I mean, that type of stuff would definitely help the over. But I think that's where I would target personally. If I had to pick a side, I would take the over 41.5. I don't typically play over under points, but I like that more than the spread in this just because I am optimistic with Denver. I think both teams are really solid matchup this week for Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at the game last time too. It was 39 total points, 23-16, but the Chargers were up 20-0 at half. So they were able to run the clock. They didn't turn the ball over once. The Broncos did twice. But, I mean, I think the Chargers make a mistake or two here. They can't run the ball as much. Again, Dobbins at 25 carries. That is just –
it's not happening. Like
absurd.
Yeah, books don't see that happening either. I think – what does Gus have? A 9.5 rush attempt, and then Vidal has a 7.5 favored under. So, I mean, that's 17 attempts right there.
Yeah, I think that they get better in the passing game. I think both offenses can do some damage here. It is divisional. It is tight, but the numbers is very low. And think about it, if you get 20, let's say 17-17, we need another touchdown to go over. Like I think we'll be in the position. I think it's too low to play the under here, in my opinion. If you're going to pick something, you got to go the over.
I agree. Do you know what it opened at? I didn't see
43.
43. So people are taking the under. You see it consistently, right?
I think 43.5, 44 is where it should be. So,
likewise. And I think a lot of people are initially going to take the under because divisional game.
On Thursday, yeah.
It's one of those things where, yeah, it's a sharp thing, but eventually it won't be. Like, everyone's sticking with that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's kind of one of those safe cop-out plays where people just take them, and it's not always accurate. And so, to me, I think it's going to be close.
The good thing with the NFL, too, is that if it does get carried away, and then you can get a holding call to go back, but you also get the pass interference calls in your favor to go down the field as well. So
yeah,
there are things that play that can happen there. I'm on the kicker in this game. I think there's field goals galore. I think they move the ball. Red zone could be an issue, but I think they move the ball and they're in field goal range a ton. Do you have another prop in this game, or is it pretty small for you?
I did, yeah. So I took another one, Cortland Sutton. I took for 60-plus receiving yards. One of those spots where he's hit in 6 of 7 games, of 6 of the last 7 games, pardon me. But Bo Nix looks more comfortable. With that, we've seen he's had 8+ targets to 6 of the last 7 to Cortland Sutton, which Sutton wasn't getting targeted at all early on. So interesting to see the quarterback starts improving when he gets his best receiver targets. But it's one of those things where Cam Hart, who did actually really, really well against him last time they faced, he's out. So that made me key in on this matchup even more. Sutton had 53 yards in the first matchup while being covered 73% of the time by Cam Hart and didn't have a single catch off Cam Hart. So the other 27% of the time he was that productive, which is crazy efficient. So it's one of those spots where I like him against any of the guys that he's going to be defended by. If the game script stays decent, they're going to keep passing. So I feel comfortable with the wide receiver 1 here.
Yeah, no, I actually completely agree. He's had 8+ targets in 6 straight weeks. 9+ targets in almost all but one of those games. He's going to get fed the ball. And if you think the Broncos are going to be losing late, he should soar over. I think the only way you do miss this is if they're winning late. He's at 55 and they don't need to throw anymore. So I like that spot a lot. The Broncos receiving room is not great. People like Devon Vele. I think he's got spurts. He's not consistent. And in this game against a division rival, you're going to find your guy.
Yeah, you're finding your key guys to go beat rival teams. You're getting Devontae Williams. He's going to have his touches. Sutton's going to have his touches. You know what I mean? You go get your playmakers involved. It just feels like one of those where he should be peppered. I'm expecting 10 targets if this is a decent game script. Obviously,
I completely agree. There's no weather either. I think he can catch a deep ball.
Yeah, if they go up 2 scores, obviously they're going to run the ball. That's how it goes. But if this stays with a decent game script, I love the spot.
I completely agree. All right, so it is a weird game. We talked about that. First touchdown score. I think I couldn't tell if it was the episode before that you got it right or if it was we missed last. I honestly forget what it was.
I think it was 2 weeks ago, but I can't remember. I've hit a lot recently.
There's a ton. Yeah. There's a ton of value in first touchdown score. There's no cheap plus 300s. There's no Derrick Henrys. It is plus 600, plus 700 or better. So I'll let you go first this time. I know you're not going to pick my guy. I'm that confident. So you go first.
Yeah, for me, I'm going Gus Edwards. I don't typically go the safe, simple route with the RB1 of the favorite team. But this one, I feel like I'm throwing a dart with every other player. I could see Gus Edwards, if they're in the goal line, getting a scamper. So it's one of those spots where I don't think Vidal's going to get any looks. I don't trust Denver's run game. Let me get an RB1 to get in the end zone tonight.
I agree. Plus 700 too. That's
decent value, right? You'd think that'd be plus 500.
You're getting the favorites RB1 at plus 700, and not a crazy wide receiver core. So I do agree. That's probably the smartest play on the board. I'm not going to lie, but we're going to have some more fun over here. I'm going to go on the Broncos side of things. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton. We just talked about the guy getting your guy in the end zone, in the red zone. I think that matters even more. Maybe he forces it, gets picked off, but I think he's going to target him in the end zone. Plus 1,000.
He's the guy. They don't really have a ton of other size guys on the outside. So
no, I think plus 1,000, bet 365. Bet both those. You win money, a lot of money, if either one of those score, one on each side. This guy's getting crazy with Gus and Cortland first team TDs, plus 2,000. Hey,
2,000, that's nice.
I'm not going to tell you how to go make your plate at the buffet. That's all you. We're going to provide the food there. You could either choose to pass, put one on your plate, or take both. It's up to you. That is your style, whatever you want to do. But that's it for us. We will have a show tomorrow with much better games to talk about with the Steelers and Ravens and Texans and Chiefs. I mean, talk about an insane divisional game in the Steelers and the Ravens, then a good Chiefs-Texans game as well. Texans game with a low total, but it is what it is. 2 better games. We'll talk the show tomorrow as those are Saturday games, and then we'll have my show on Sunday. So that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Best of luck in your bets today, and let's enjoy some football. Peace out.